Transition Doula. I'm happy that we can continue our Transition Doula, and I'm happy that you're here. And so this is I always say this, but it's also a very interesting trajectory where we go through with the Transition Doula. So now, just a couple of days ago, I got the inspiration to share another chapter from A Course of Love, and we're certainly going to listen to that. And so the title of this meeting would be Ceremony of Life, but that we were looking at ideas of creative ways to make a ceremony or to let something occur in that. And that's a beautiful idea to take a look at that. Certainly willing to do that. But the thing that happened was is that the inspiration that I got to share wasn't directly related to ceremony in the sense of form, but surely connected to attention. That was one thing, like attention, and that resonated with me big time. And the idea of attention, if I am completely present in what I do becomes like a ceremony. I've said this before, but it's really my experience too. It's like, if you really know what's going on in any kind of situation, the situation itself becomes like a ceremony, like an holy moment and holy encounter that has nothing to do with the form that you see or with apparent situations that you are in, but more like with everything that you give your full attention will become like a ceremony, because you take time to let it be what it actually is. I think that is the common denominator between ceremonies also in human existence. The ceremonies that we do, at least we come together with one goal, and which is like taking part in a ceremony. So it's like our full attention is right there. That makes a ceremony a special moment, you could say. I mean, we know this from churches and all this. It's like, we have a lot of experience with that, lifetimes of ceremonies and who knows, rituals and all this. But here, in our new transformational journey, we come to realize that everything that you do with attention, in fact, becomes a ceremony, because literally you invite holiness in to see it as whole, to experience it as whole, and bring everything together in that, because you are perceiving that way. You're literally present that way. So I thought that was beautiful to see that connected, and so that is one thing. And then the other was, and this is like, even under all of this attention, you could say, the fundamental laws is something that is still deeper under that. There's a deeper layer of presence, which is also absolutely the law of love, of course, but it's like the laws of God. That's actually something that we feel too, like the laws of God are underneath all of this. And maybe that is also, so I don't want to really, actually we do it, like we actually take a really good look at ceremony, at presence, at attention, but then deep down below, actually seeing the laws of God at work, you could say. So if I take a certain happening as a superficial thing, which I describe it as a form, it could be a ceremony for somebody who passed or who knows what. Like, okay, if I take a look at that way, as form, then you have a certain way of doing that. There are certain songs that we sing, or certain poems that we read, or certain music that we play. Sure, that's also part of the experience, of course. And thinking a little deeper below that is the attention that is suddenly there, the relaxation, in fact, of the acceptance of what is occurring in that moment, a moment of release, in fact, a moment of transition, a moment of release is like right there. And then beneath all of that, you cannot be fooled in our transformational new way of looking through eyes of Christ. You cannot be fooled by what the occurrence is. Since you came into the realization, into at least getting in touch with the ideas of God is but love, and therefore so am I. Like, God is the law of love, and I'm an extension of that, and that makes everything that is occurring is in fact a part of that. And the part that is not fooled is that this is forever so. So there's forever a creative principle working in us, recognizing that, knocking on our shoulder and saying, like, hey, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, see what's going on. It's not what you think. No, there's no such thing as a temporal idea. No, there's no such thing as death and limitation. No, and deeper and deeper and deeper. No, all the rules that you have made up are not at work. Now, I don't know about your experience with ceremonies or any kind of procession, or who knows where you have been. I don't know about you, but my experience is that since I realize more, so to speak, since I start to recognize more of what is truly going on within me, my function in ceremonies has completely changed. Like, that is literally liberated from social laws. It's liberated from this is how you behave, or it's freed of this is the way you are present then. So it is more like, no, it does not change anything that much, even in a ceremony of a funeral-like setup or whatever. It's like, that's just an example. Like, nothing really changes, in the sense that I'm apparently starting to come into that every moment is in fact that, is full of life, in fact, is full of creation, is full of love, and I've every opportunity to extend that. And yeah, whatever can be accepted, whatever can be given and received at that point. So that can go as far as you can. Yeah, so I'm speaking in general terms. I recognize that. I know that. So to become more specific, I think I emphasize the whole idea of attention, of being present, literally being present. Now, what do you need to do to be present? We're going to talk about that. So that's one thing, the present. Then the other part is also not be fooled by human behavior, by human laws, but going beyond that and still being able to be totally present in the moment, and in fact being inspired by the laws of God, the laws of love at the same time. This is the summary of what I just shared. So the next part then is, so how do you do that? Like, how can you be completely present somewhere? Now, in the Course of Love, we will see there are some parts mentioned that, like, it has to do with your own sense of fulfillment, of thinking or at least recognizing in yourself that parts, yes, I got the attention that I needed. Yes, I took the opportunity that was helpful to me, and almost like you recognize a fulfillment that has taken place that is necessary to be able to be present. Now, you can say, like, when I'm in a situation, for instance, I'm just using funeral as an example. If I'm in a funeral and I'm distracted by my own unresolved memories related to processions, to funerals, to passing on, to whatever temporary transition that you could be part of, you cannot be present. That's what this says then. It's like you cannot be present because something is literally distracting you. You're overwhelmed with your own emotions that are coming up, or who knows what. And in your transformation, so this is so specific, that's why I keep rambling about it. In fact, it's like, it's so specific, but I'm so much aware of the things that I went through in order to become present in situations like this. It's like the one thing that happens too, this is what I recall in moments that I experienced that, was this. It's like there is an awareness that you see that there's no such thing as death. You can accept that, and you can. Now, if you are in a ceremony, in a procession, in which you see that people are actually crying because of their loss, of crying about that they lost someone, then if you know better, so to speak, if you know better in terms of there's only life eternal, this can temporarily become very intensely painful to see the unnecessary, you could say, unnecessary suffering that occurs just by, in fact, not knowing, or ignorance, or whatever you want to call it, like not knowing that there's such thing as life eternal. Even though the pastor or who knows, the ceremony leader might say from everlasting to everlasting, but there appears to be one that is gone. So that's not really, in that sense, not really coherent. Very much, say, we're used to that in certain religious traditions. So you know what I'm saying. So in other words, in your transformation, you go through different ways of experiencing the ceremonies because you have been touched by Christ. You could say your eyes are opened to a recognition of life eternal, that you recognize as a living principle within yourself. Now to appear at a place where actually one's are. And it's necessary. I'm not saying it's wrong or anything, or it's bad, or it's ridiculous or anything. Not at all. But it can be a totally different experience for yourself to be in that circumstance. So this is part that I wanted to talk a little bit about, because of the fact that you will find yourself in these situations. You will find yourself with the ones that are so-called losing somebody, and thinking that that's a real occurrence, and you will have, since you have a physical memory of the person and you lived in physical closeness with this one, you will have to go through a process of, grieving, of feeling what is going on, all of that. Even though in the back of your mind you have an experience of life eternal. The kingdom is me. The kingdom is within me. The kingdom is me. So I can connect with that any moment, but when something seems to be occurring here that has a physical, or a memory for me, I will have to allow myself to feel whatever it is I feel, just to, in fact, to release my memories of that, to heal the memories that are coming up. Now, that part, that's where the attention came up to. So I think we should listen to that first. So I recorded one chapter, a reading, chapter 29 of A Course of Love, called Attention. We're going to listen to that. And afterwards I will bring up a couple of expressions that I think are very useful for knowing what is needed to be completely present. Chapter 29, Attention. To attend is to be present and to be of service. This is the meaning of which we speak when we ask for a commitment to life that requires your attention. It is both a request for focus and readiness and a request for service that can only be given in the present by mind and heart available to the requirements of the present. It is the appropriate attitude for the time of tenderness, as it is an attitude of ministry. Your function cannot be known to you while you shy away from the idea of service. Whether you realize it or not, you associate service with subjugation, particularly the idea of service to a higher will or higher cause. Some of you associate it with a lack of free will or a lack of choice, a course that will lead you to a subservient stature. Others think of it in terms of charity and continue to see a difference between those who would serve and those who would be served. Few of you have as yet integrated this course definition of service into your lives, but now you shall. For you cannot bring the learning you have done here into an engagement with life and not realize the true meaning of service, or in contrast the true meaning of use. You who have so worried over what to do have both welcomed and feared the idea of some kind of service being required of you. There is no mystery to this, as the idea of service in your society is one of enforced duty, as exemplified by your military service. You have no notion, as did people of the past, of being of service to God. This is a symptom of the reign of the ego and its ability to both aggrandize your notion of yourself and to minimize it. To be of service to God is not to be a slave to God, but to attend to God, to give God your attention and your care. You who would cry, "God, make use of me," only need to give to God your devotion and your willingness to serve instead of use. Further, you need to let the universe be of service to you rather than trying to use the universe to accomplish your goals. These adjustments in your attitude toward service will bring about the completion of the cycle of giving and receiving and the beginning of wholeness. This is as true for your own goal of wholeheartedness as it is for any wider goal of unity, for they are all the same goal. Wholeheartedness is unity regained. Your return to unity is all God seeks for you, for himself and for all his children. The return to unity was my accomplishment, and all that is meant by what I have often repeated here. Only you can be accomplished. Your service is but dedication to this goal. My return to unity accomplished this idea for all. For all are one in me and one in unity. This is why you have no need to concern yourself with anything other than this goal. Your realization of this goal's accomplishment is your realization of your divinity, a state unaltered and yet in need of your recognition and return. While this goal may at first appear to be one of selfish intent and individual gain, it is not. A return to unity is a return to unity. From within the center, the core of unity, your accomplishment goes out to the world, as mine once did. The time of tenderness is the time of your approach to unity, the atonement that is accomplished here is the means of opening the gate to your approach. No one has closed this gate to you, but you, by your own hand, pulled it shut as you departed your heavenly home, and you do not remember that your own hand can open it once again. It is a gate of illusion, of mist, of clouds before the sun. Your hand is outstretched now, and your light is clearing away the mist. The gateway to unity stands before you, an arc of golden light beneath a rainbow vibrant with the colors of life. Life, not death, assures your approach. God Himself will guide your entry. Many of you have noticed the consistency with which you have glorified falsely that which you would imitate from creation. In work too you will find an example of this, for you all know that work and service somehow go together. In many cultures has work thus been glorified and made to seem as if it is the proper use of a life. And yet, as your Father's child, your work is as His. Your work is that of creation. Your creation is your service to the world, as your Father's work is His service to you. As you cannot imagine God toiling, so you should cease to imagine yourself doing thus. Many of you think of life itself as toil. There is much you need to just to stay alive, and if a thing is required, expected, necessary, your tendency is to rebel against it and to seek for ease in getting it done, or ways to avoid doing it at all. Thus have your paper plates and dishwashers taken the ritual from a meal, your mass manufacturing the satisfaction of the handmaid. While this is neither good nor bad, this attitude of life as toil is part of your rebellion against ideas of service. You have no time for more than you do now, and you think of service, if you think of it at all, as something to be fit in here or there where it is convenient in your busy schedule. It is extremely important for you to realize that God's work takes place outside of time, as do all acts of true service or creation. This is not a readily understandable concept, but one that is necessary for you to have faith in. It is essential to your release of the concept of toil and your acceptance of your function here. No matter how busy your schedule, it is only a schedule in terms of your perception of it. Your schedule is just another way of saying your life and an alternative view of how you look at your life when seen thus is absolutely necessary. No wholeness will be possible for you while you look at life in terms of schedules, plans, timetables, or things to get done. No wholeness will be possible for you while you compartmentalize your life into designated pieces, giving yourself time for work and time for leisure, and seeing them not as the same thing. Life is life. Life is as love is. Life is service to God. God is service to life. You are God in life, thus you are both life and service to life, both God and service to God. All of the vast universe was created the same, to live and to serve life, to be of God and to be of service to God, to be served and to serve, to be provided for and to provide, to have needs met and to meet needs. This circular nature of the universe leaves no one unattended, yet you realize this not. The separation but accentuates this manner of functioning and made it of something difficult and challenging, something to be changed. The separation accentuates this manner of functioning and made of it, as of the rest of creation, something that it is not. The separation accentuated this manner of functioning, but it did not create it. Life exists in service to itself. This could also be stated thus: life exists in relationship. Relationship is the interaction within which service occurs. The replacement of the idea of service with the idea of use made for the existence of special relationships. The idea of use created all ideas of toil as the only means of having needs met. The idea of use created all notions of distrust, starting with, as we have stated before, your ideas of using the very body you call your home rather than allowing it to serve you. The universe exists in reciprocal relationship or holy relationship rather than special relationship. This is the nature of existence, as unity is the nature of existence, and cannot be changed and has not changed, although you believe it not. It is a joyful relationship, as the nature of relationship is joy. Once you have given up your belief in separation, this will be known to you. The choice to change your belief is before you. Are you not ready to make it? As you once chose separation, you can now choose unity. Not knowing that unity was a choice prevented you from making this choice before now. Now I tell you clearly, the choice is yours. Choose once again. As you make your choice, remember your choice must be wholehearted, for it is in wholeheartedness that the power of choice exists. A split mind and heart can prevent you from utilizing the power of choice, but it cannot prevent you from claiming this choice as your own. Choose anew, and let the power of heaven come together to seal the rift between your mind and heart and make you whole again. Claiming your identity and your power to make choices is an act that comes from an entirely different place than decision-making. Claiming is akin to prayer, and is but an asking for your true inheritance. You have felt that you need to know for what it is you ask, and yet you cannot know until you inherit. Can you have faith that your true inheritance is what you truly desire, even knowing not exactly what the inheritance is? Can you not follow me in my choice and accept it as your own? You who have so long been afraid to claim your smallest gifts, look again at claiming with the definition I have provided. Claiming is also contrary to how you have perceived of it in terms of claiming something for your own. You claim not to own or to separate what you have from what another has, and then to call it special. You claim in order to reclaim yourself. How can one's talent cause another to be less talented? How can one's service deprive anyone else of the right to serve? No two are alike. Only in God are all the same. This is the great divide, the separation between the visible and the invisible, the indivisible and the divisible. Only those reunited with God achieve the state of unity. Only the state of unity exists. Your gifts, your talents, your uniqueness are your service. Can you not look at them thus? And can you not come to understand the reciprocal nature of giftedness? That what God has given only needs to be received. That what you have received only needs to be given. The indivisibleness of God is simply this: an unbroken chain of giving and receiving. Thus is this a definition of unity as well. Service is but another way of stating this law of creation, this unbroken chain of giving and receiving. All your worry over the future and the past is a worry about the return of gifts given. What gift of opportunity did you not accept in the past might you not recognize in the future? What gift of fortune, what chance encounter, what decision might have changed your life? What should you have done that you didn't? What might you do in the future if not for your fear of where the direction you choose might take you? What peace might you know if you truly realized, that all gifts come but once and are forever? The past nor the future matter not. All is available in the here and now, where giving and receiving occur. No chance to learn or grow is ever missed. Each still exists, though not in time. Each still exists, but in the present. Can you replace your attention to the past and future with an attention to the present? Yeah, so this is interesting to listen to this. So I'm happy that we did. And I'm going to give a little so-called instruction to listen to this, because it is like we hear about the chapters, we hear about A Course in Miracles, we hear about A Course of Love, we hear about all kinds of input, you could say, and that can be a bit overwhelming. I totally get that. Now, that's okay too, to be overwhelmed with it. So here's one thing that will inspire you to keep discovering, and that's in fact to use all that is shared to become more present in this moment. That means not trying to understand what you hear, not engaging your mind to hear, but in fact open your mind to be present and receiving it, what is given. Because this is more like it resonates, a memory in you, a present memory in you. In fact, all that I share is doing that. And if you're, say, focused on that, then you can listen the whole day without getting tired, because you're not engaging mind to try to understand it. And that seems a bit weird, because you were taught to understand things and get an overview, and here it is, it's like, no, that overview will come, and this insight will come. You will recognize what this is about in yourself. If that is given to you, it will be there immediately when you need it. This is what I recognize that is happening for me too. It's like you wholehearted listen to it, and in fact what happens is that you become more present. Then whatever comes your way as an almost like a shower of light, which is really what this is, and that gives you every opportunity to enjoy it deeply and recognize it deeply. But there's no understanding necessary. Now, here in this piece that I shared, there are questions too that you maybe want to take a look at. So I'm going to share those too, but in fact they all have to do with the idea of being present, being say right here. If I'm engaging in what was this about, I try to understand it, then I'm in fact already away from this moment. So the understanding is not necessary for it to do the work of recognition that you instantaneously will have. But if your mind is engaged, you will not recognize it that happened. That's why that is totally different. But it's a new way of listening. It's really like that. But it's very helpful and very, say, energy efficient. Because the inspiration gives you energy. If you try to engage and try to understand and try to do all kinds of things with it, then you exhaust yourself in a way that is not necessary. It's like, no, we tried that. That is not necessary. So the learning now, and the learning part in this is to learn to listen in a different way. And that is a wholehearted or whole-minded. To let whatever is coming your way, just let it come to you as the wind in your face, and that what resonates, resonates. That goes automatically. There's no action required on your part except being present and releasing the tendency to understand and the tendency to do this and that. So does this all that comes your way have an impact on your physical system? Well, that's always a great question. Yes, it does. I bring this back in all the time too, because I see that there's physical conversion going on with many of you. So that's perfectly all right. And that's also part of it. You can see it like this is like, apparently there's a physical undoing process that's on a cellular level that is quite intense, and you go through that. Now take your time to do that. Drink sufficient water. Take enough rest. Don't exhaust yourself. Eat healthy but lightly. This kind of thing. It's like, take it easy. Because what is it that is occurring is this, and this is what brings everything together, in fact, in what we're doing today, is like being present is in fact your calling now, to be present. In whatever way that's going to be given, using your talents, your ways, your specificness, or the specificness of you as literally as an extension of creation. And you can say that you're made ready to let that occur, to make that happen. So that is like, you have to take care of yourself in that. You have to rest enough. You have to say like, okay, well, today I'm not able to listen to this. I need to take a break to lay down in my bed and have a day of rest for myself. Like all these things, it's totally appropriate to do so. It's great if you take care of yourself in this. Really important. And but like I said, your whole system, literally all your ideas are being converted. All that change that is going on within you is an essential part in the whole story, because literally you will get a new body in that sense. Like it's going to be made ready, and it's being made ready all the time to become this extension in the service of God. Like God using you to extend yourself in using every cell of your body, literally. Now this is also part in the being present wherever you are. Like that is the ceremony of life that we're talking about. Being present, literally completely present in service of God. And I thought this was a great part to use this, because it literally shares about that and gives suggestions and gives you new insights. And so that's really lovely. Like I said, I have a couple of sheets that I would like to share So to attend is to be present and to be of service. This is the meaning of which we speak when we ask for a commitment to life that requires your attention. It is both a request for focus and readiness and a request for service that can only be given in the present by a mind and heart available to the requirements of the present. And what the requirements are, you don't know. So the only part of you is that you are present. Your hand is outstretched now, and your light is clearing away the mist. Your light is clearing away the mist. The gateway to unity stands before you, an arc of golden light, beneath a rainbow vibrant with the colors of life. Life, not death, assures your approach. God Himself will guide your entry. Okay, so this was the practical part with the timetables, schedules and plans. It's like, yeah, no wholeness will be possible for you while you look at life in terms of schedules, plans and timetables to get things done. Like there is nothing that needs to get done. None of your plans, timetables or to-do lists make sense in that sense. Life is service to God. God is service to life. You are God in life. Thus you are both life and service to life, both God and service to God. All of the vast universe was created the same, to live and to serve life, to be of God and to be of service to God, to be served and to serve, to be provided for and to provide, to have needs met and to meet needs. This circular nature of the universe leaves no one unattended. And here it says, yet you realize this not. So here's the individual part in that. Your gifts, your talents, your uniqueness are your service. So that's not doing, but that's being. See that? It's like that's being. That's just inherent in who you are. Inherent in how the self-expression of you is. And the actions of mind, you could say, the extension of you is. Can you not look at them thus? And can you not come to understand the reciprocal nature of giftedness? Now that's an interesting word, reciprocal nature, because here there's an extra question. That what God has given only needs to be received. So in that sense there is no reciprocity, there's no exchange. To what God has given only needs to be received. That what you have received only needs to be given. So this is really important. I'm getting out of this for a second. Now you say like, oh, okay, so what do you mean? What do you mean? So the thing that I mean is this, is like, there is no reciprocity. There's no exchange with God. So God extends his gifts to you. You receive that. In your receiving, you extend it into the world. It's like that can only be extended into the world by your acceptance of what God gives. Now this is what is the beauty of it. So there's no exchange. There's no reciprocity. There's a giving, an extension that keeps expanding. That's basically the principle of it. So that is good to know, because it is not that if you do that right, then you get the gifts of God. No, the gifts of God are already given to you. It's up to you to receive them. By you receiving them, you give them. This is a principle that we've seen many times in healing too, in practitionership or anything. It's like you will first have to accept or receive the light within you in order to be able to give it. How else would you be able to give it? That makes total sense. But I wanted to mention it because this is said in a different way, and that can be really helpful to hear it this way. Now here's the list of questions. Service is but another way of stating this law of creation, this unbroken chain of giving and receiving. And see, a unbroken chain of giving and receiving is also not a lengthy chain, but an instantaneous chain. In fact, there's no length related to it. So that's difficult about the word chain. Chain would only refer then to the, say, the complete oneness of this idea of giving and receiving. If you know what I mean. So otherwise you place it in a timeline and then you would miss the purpose of this. So this is pretty much like quantum physics. It's the giving and receiving at the same time. There's no succession. No, in your giving, in your receiving, you give. So that's happening at the same time. all your worry over the future and the past is but a worry about the return of gifts given. What gift of opportunity did you not accept in the past? Might you not recognize in the future? What gift of fortune? What chance encounter? What decision might have changed your life? Like, did you miss one of those choices? Chances? What should you have done that you didn't? Like, if I would have done that, then it's like this is where your concerns are about. Your worry is about one of those things. Or if I would have done that different, then everything would have been fine. What might you do in the future if not for your fear of where the direction you choose might take you? What peace might you know if you truly realized that all gifts come but once and are forever? The past nor the future matter not. All is available in the here and now, where giving and receiving occur. So this is one to look at for yourself, but it's like the reason that I share this is in fact to see that these questions have, it is not like, okay, now you have something to worry about your past. No, the reason that I share them is to see that in fact it is given. You did not miss an opportunity. So it's like your concerns about or worries about it, like if I had done this differently, then everything would have been different, would be something that somebody can say worry about. Also before a transition takes place in whatever form. Like if I did not do that, then everything would have been so much easier. It's like no, that is just one that keeps you away from receiving what is now. That is all. Like there's nothing, in fact, that went wrong. Now here, if you are present here now, that is your only opportunity, in fact, to come to a totality, and that is a totally liberating idea. It is not a negation. It is not an it's not that you say like, well, the past doesn't exist, or like no. This is about being completely open to receive what is here and now, being present in that. And this is where the joy is. This is where relationship is. This is where the gifts of God are. This is where you are present. All other options that you think you might entertain have nothing to do with that. So yeah, it's very interesting to work like this, because I see too, like the reason why this is being shared this way has everything to do with the pure inspiration of being here, being present here. And that is the only thing that's in fact that you can offer to your brother that is actually helpful. Whether he's in transition or not, whether there's a big change in his life or whatever. No, it's like in every occasion, this is in fact the only thing that you can give. And however that is expressed is literally inspired. It's inspired in you. So the expression of that you can totally trust. But the prerequisite for all of this is that you are present, that you're not concerned about if things went all right in the past, or worries about the future. Like then you miss the alignment with this, what is present here now for you. So you miss your guidance, you miss the joy of relationship, because you think, well, you're concerned with something else, you're literally distracted. Now, that's why I mention it. And this is totally helpful in every situation that you're in. And you might not think that way directly, thinking that you need to engage first, or you do this or that, or you can be sidetracked for a moment to come back, or it's like No, well, you will see that the only real occurrence is in fact when you become present. So thank you for now for being present here with me and exercising this, and listening and being present, receiving this and giving it at the same time. Like incredible gift given and received. I love it. So thank you so much for that. And thank God for this incredible inspirational mission and this expression where I can just completely be myself. I don't have to adjust to anything. Now here's my freedom. So thank you so much for your part in that.